Don't think of them as human beings. Think of them as Americans.
Well, things are certainly heating up now, ladies and gentlemen. Spoiler alert. But before we get into episode 7, there's something I forgot to address real quick in episode 6.
Where were you born again, Thaddeus?
The boneyard? The shithole side of the boneyard?
You coming from Shady Sands?
So does this confirm that Shady Sands was in fact not in the boneyard? It still does seem awfully boneyardy, but as it's been suggested, there's plenty of cities within the state of California. Let me know in the comments. Now on to this week's episode.
Just a couple of ghouls. Am I right?
They are making it abundantly clear to the new audience what we've already known. This man is not a ghoul.
And then there's this. This is normal, right?
One thing is becoming awfully apparent though. Cooper seems to know exactly what's going on. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a look of concern, suggesting that Thaddeus is transforming into something that he doesn't want to be anywhere near. What is he transforming into? Well, the leading deduction right now is that Thaddeus is turning into a centaur. Now it does kind of fit, considering that centaurs don't have any arms. Well, at least not arms on the upper torso part like a human. The mouth growth could also kind of fit, but there is a lore problem with this. Centaurs were originally created by the Master, and they're basically FEV chimeras. The Master would take body parts of different types of animals and chuck them into a vat of FEV, just to see what would come out the other end. Thaddeus was a human who huffed some kind of mystery liquid to fix his foot, so it doesn't quite fit. Even the Bethesda centaurs that we see in Fallout 3, they weren't made by the Master, but they were made the same way. So unless they're breaking the lore again, I don't think he's turning into a centaur. I'm just gonna throw this out there though. There is a creature in Fallout 2 that has an undetermined source of origin. Considering how they first appeared, however, and the fact that they lay eggs, I'll consider this to be unlikely. But let me know what you think. What if Thaddeus is turning into a Wanamingo?
The President of the United States is in Las Vegas. How would you feel about giving it directly to him?
Well, that would be a terrible idea. As many of you know, the Enclave is primarily made up of high-level corporate executives, high-ranking military officials, world-class scientists, and of course, high-profile politicians. The President of the United States falls squarely into that last category.
The President of the United fucking States of America. Who do you think I was talking about? The fuck? Who is it? What? I should kick your fucking ass. Who?
And of course we see Cooper handing cold fusion off to Lex Luthor.
Do you know how much power I'd have to give up to be president?
I mean to Rhombus. I mean to Captain Black. I mean to Captain Byron Hadley.
What do you think the government's gonna do to me? Take a big wet bite out of my ass.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean to the President of the United States, being played by Clancy Brown. First it was Ron Perlman, and now him. Hopefully Michael Dorn is next. But in all seriousness, this setup brings certain questions up within the lore. The Enclave seemed more than willing to trade cold fusion for their mind control tech. They managed to acquire both, but as far as we can tell, they only ever used the latter. And they only ever use it on dogs and Deathclaws. Now obviously you can argue that the human mind is more complex and prone to exploding. They worked on it for years in different vaults, and it took Hank with all that data and possibly the correct test subject to finally make it work. But that doesn't explain why they never utilized cold fusion. Does anyone have any ideas? The team that set up the base in Chicago took it with them, and it ended up with Wilczek. But why though?
In all my years, I've only ever seen one man come out on top in Vegas. We got to do it like he did.
And what's that exactly?
He rigged the game.
The game was rigged from the start.
Now there's been some controversy around this power armor. Now from the pauldron bolts, we can see that this is basically a highly modified T-45. The NCR was an industrialized nation, so there isn't really any question that they could do these modifications. It's the only proprietary NCR power armor we've ever seen, but maybe not the only one we've ever heard of. People are citing certain pieces of dialogue, like the following.
Our heavy infantry, power armor units, they're back in NCR territory protecting the interests of Brahmin barons against small-time raiders. Ranger combat helmets are old pre-war gear. They have built-in low-light optics. makes a big difference. The Baja Rangers can do more advanced night scouting and sharpshooting to assist the troopers. Mojave outposts send word through the stations. The Rangers coming up from Baja moved through Dayglow a week ago. Some of the patrol rangers have reported that Oliver's power armor heavy troopers are starting to reinforce the front lines. They have the best equipment the NCR can get its hands on. Power armor salvaged from our war with the Brotherhood. Techs strip out the joint servos so you don't need special training to wear it. It feels like you're carrying a Brahmin on your back, but it can take a heck of a lot of punishment.
I don't currently have the time to find these pieces in-game, so there might be some context missing. So I have to look into it more. Maybe I'll make it a future video. But the point of contention is whether or not the NCR had proper power armor units piloting armored frames, or were they all salvaged power armor? Because the one in the show is very clearly on a power armor frame. Let me know what you think in the comments. I might use it in the aforementioned video.
Long live the new California Republic! Welcome back to the Death Claw!
Wow, Deathclaw or not, it is surprising seeing Freeside residents being so welcoming to the NCR. But then again, these could just be former NCR citizens as well.
The new California Republic, just like the Legion.
One side is murdering people, enslaving them, crucifying them, and the other side is vaguely problematic.
Here we go.
This line, of course, re-triggered the old debate online about which ending is preferable in Fallout New Vegas. I think most people still see that there is no good option, and that's kind of why it turns into a debate. And people debating it really shows that the writers did a good job of formulating these different factions. I don't think I should go into it too much, because it's a whole other video in itself, and this video is more about analyzing the lore implications of this TV show. But I will say that the issues people have with the NCR is that they behave very similarly to pre-war or real-world superpowers. You can argue that they do many of the same things that the Legion does, but they package it in a much more palatable way. And also, if you can get a bunch of people together, call them a senate, and have them pass a law about it in your favor, then you can get away with it saying it was legal. The Legion, on the other hand, they don't bother with the sugarcoating. And the inherent problem with the Legion is similar to the NCR's. They aren't doing anything new. The Legion just went back further in time. It's the same circle as the NCR, it's just a much bigger circle. And also, like Ulysses points out, if the Legion wins, and this giant tribe built on and around warfare suddenly has no one to fight, they are going to collapse and fight themselves. Examine the Mongols, the Timurids, the Huns, etc. I've noticed some people expressing their disinterest in this plotline, but I am curious why she's forcing this marriage. My best guess is that her plan and/or maybe something in Hank's keepsake box still requires her to be a legal US citizen, hence the marriage. I guess we'll see.
She's Canadian!
Oh, the humanity!
Ah, a snow globe. Alright, so the Congresswoman is now just a head in a jar and has one of those same headset devices as Mr. House. All the quote-unquote niceness is being extracted from her, I guess. Have you guys ever seen that anime Psycho Pass? No spoilers or anything, it's actually pretty good. But something kind of like that is happening here.
Well, hello, old chum.
And now let's talk about which New Vegas ending was canon. Again. As far as I'm concerned, it's still kind of up in the air. You can say it's weird that House immediately recognized ghoulified Cooper, but you can argue that Cooper has been here before and the Securitrons observed him. But he hasn't been inside of the Lucky 38 since 200 years ago. Some have argued that his fingerprint was scanned at the door, which is why the door opened for him at all. Maybe, but now let's talk about the meat and potatoes. At the end of Season 1, I argued that the most logical ending, based on what little we saw in the credits, would be an independent Vegas ending, aka the Yes Man ending. Now it is true that when Yes Man uploads himself into the Lucky 38's computer, his Securiton shell does fall roughly in that position. In the game, what you might see sometimes on the screen is the message, "Connection lost." But in the show, we see no signal. That in itself could be a clue. The Yes Man ending absolutely involves neutralizing Mr. House. And as we've established, if Victor is alive, House is alive. There is an option to keep House alive though, but you cut off his control of the computers. But that doesn't matter because I checked and Victor goes away if you do that too. Lolo, over on Twitter went frame by frame and believes that this is conclusive evidence of Yes Man being in control of the Lucky 38 and using House's image and memories to speak to Cooper. There is an issue with that, however. All you have to do is look at the name. Yes Man. An intricate lie like this is something Yes Man would only do if he was instructed to. Which brings me into my next point. Who is or was behind Yes Man? Who's giving him orders and who got him installed into the Lucky 38? Benny somehow figured out a way in? I still believe the courier never existed. So I'm still on the side of it being a custom ending written for the show, but not in the game. The showrunners are trying to keep it open, which is commendable, but next week is the season finale, and I'm sure there's going to be some sort of cliffhanger. Season 3 has already been greenlit. I think we're going to see a lot more Ron Perlman and a lot more super mutants in that one. But they gotta finish this off first. See you next week.